8 ways to cut carbs in a healthy manner. While low-carb diets are a popular way to lose weight, cutting carbs from your diet can be easier said than done. After all, as anyone who's tried to go cold turkey on carbs can attest, carbs seem to find their way into just about everything that's delicious. So, how do you get the carbohydrate monkey off your back and carb your enthusiasm once and for all? Well, you can either sign up to be a member of a Pasta-Holics Anonymous, or you can watch this video on 8 popular ways you can reduce your carb intake and get a head start on your low-carb diet. One thing you should never cut from your diet is Bestie's delicious daily content. So subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can always stay up to date on our newest videos. When it comes to losing weight, a diet that's low in carbohydrates seems to be one of the best ways to go. Studies have shown that diets that are low in carbs are typically more effective than diets that are low in fat, at least in the short term. But an effective diet is like an effective sports play. You can't just rush in blindly and hope for the best. So, how are some ways in which you can optimize the effectiveness of a low-carb lifestyle? Nutrition expert Chris Gunners of Healthline outlines 8 of the most popular ways you can approach cutting carbs from your diet. Number 1. A typical low-carb diet. While Gunners states that a typical low-carb diet is a loosely defined term, a simple diet that places a focus on restricting your intake of carbohydrates can be an effective way to manage your weight. Usually, this type of carb-restricted diet involves a meal plan that is low in carbs but high in protein. Making use of high-protein food sources such as meat, fish, eggs, nuts, and seeds, as well as the usual staples of fruit, veggies, and healthy fats. Foods to avoid in a carb-restricted diet are things such as grains, potatoes, and junk food that's high in sugar, including soft drinks. Your recommended daily amount of carbs on a diet like this can vary depending on your weight loss goals. How much weight do you want to lose, and how fast do you want to lose it? While someone who wants to maintain their current weight can probably make use of 100 to 150 grams of carbohydrates per day, someone who wants to see significant results fast may want to limit themselves to less than 50 grams of carbs. In these cases, you'll want to avoid certain fruits that contain higher concentrations of carbs, and limit your fruit intake to berries that are low on the glycemic index. Number 2. Ketogenic diet. If you've already done some research into low-carb dieting options, you've probably heard words like keto getting thrown around from time to time. A ketogenic diet, or keto diet, is a diet that is very low in carbs but high in fats, causing your body to undergo a metabolic state known as ketosis. When under the effects of ketosis, your body's insulin levels drop dramatically, and your body releases large amounts of fatty acids from its natural fat stores. From there, many of these fatty acids are transferred from your liver and converted into ketones, which are water-soluble molecules that can cross the blood-brain barrier and supply energy to your brain. As a result, ketones effectively start replacing carbohydrates as your brain's primary source of fuel, while your body still manages to produce enough glucose for your brain via a process called gluconeogenesis. A ketogenic diet is typically made up of foods that are high in protein as well as fat, and your daily intake of carbs is limited to under 50 grams per day. For some diets, this carb limit may even drop as low as 30 or even 20 grams per day instead. Sorry, fellow pasta lovers. Other variations of the keto diet, such as the targeted ketogenic diet or cyclical ketogenic diet, allow you to sneak in extra carbs on certain days or in certain circumstances, such as around workouts. Number 3. Low-carb, high-fat. A low-carb, high-fat diet, or LCFH, is similar to the previous 2 meal plans we mentioned, but with a greater emphasis placed on the consumption of whole and unprocessed foods. Unprocessed foods, sometimes referred to as real foods, are foods that typically consist of a single ingredient and do not feature any human processing or the addition of chemical additives. These foods are usually praised for being highly nutritional, low in sugar, and better for the environment. Popular choices for unprocessed foods to include in an LCHF diet include meats, fish, shellfish, eggs, vegetables, nuts, berries, and dairy products. In LCHF diets, suggested carb intake can be anywhere between 20 to 100 grams of carbohydrates per day. Number 4. Paleo diet. One of the most popular ways to cut carbs worldwide is the paleo diet. Named after the Paleolithic era of human history, the paleo diet encourages you to eat the same foods that were available to some of our earliest ancestors, before the introduction of game changers such as agriculture or the Industrial Revolution. Hey Lucy, can you pass me another one of those glyptodon steaks? Sorry, that joke might be too much of a thinker. Any paleontologists in the audience with us tonight? The main ideal behind the paleo diet is that it supposedly improves your health by returning your diet to the foods that we as a species evolved to eat, making use of the adaptations that we Homo sapiens developed in order to maximize the nutritional potential of certain foods. Smaller studies have also linked the paleo diet to other health benefits such as weight loss, reduced blood sugars, and a lessened chance of heart disease. The paleo diet emphasizes meats, seafood, eggs, fruits, veggies, tubers, nuts, and seeds, and cuts out processed foods, foods with added sugars, grains, legumes, and dairy products. Painting on cave walls and forging crude stone tools to eat with are considered optional. Number 5. The Atkins diet. The Atkins diet is a form of low-carb meal plan that involves cutting as many carbs as possible, while eating as many high-protein or high-fat foods as your heart and stomach desire. The diet itself is split into 4 phases, starting with an induction phase, where you limit yourself to under 20 grams of carbs for at least 2 weeks, followed by slowly letting healthy carbs back into your diet in small increments. Once you've achieved your weight loss goals, you enter what's known as the maintenance phase, where you are free to eat as many healthy carbs as your body can tolerate without gaining back the weight that you managed to lose. While this diet originally received a lot of flack for being supposedly dangerous, current research indicates that the Atkins diet should be perfectly safe as long as you're still meeting your recommended daily intake of fiber. Number 6. ECO-ATKINS. Want to get in on the Atkins action but without all the meaty parts? Well, you're in luck. A vegan variation of the Atkins diet also exists. Referred to as ECO-ATKINS, the ECO-ATKINS diet offers up a number of plant-based alternatives to meet your high-protein and fat-related needs, such as gluten, soy, nuts, and plant oils. In an ECO-ATKINS diet, about 25% of your daily calories are derived from carbs. The remainder is 30% protein and 45% from fats. As a result, you'll notice that the ECO-ATKINS diet is higher in carbs than the non-vegan version of Atkins, but still contains fewer carbs than a typical vegan diet. All things considered, that sounds like a pretty fair compromise. Number 7. The zero-carb diet. So you've decided it's time to fully commit. No nonsense, no excuses, no compromise. Carbs, you better lose my number because you are dead to me. Except cutting carbs out of your life entirely might actually be a really, really bad idea. People who subscribe to a low-carb diet restrict themselves to only animal-based foods such as meat, fish, eggs, and animal fats like butter and lard. With the exception of some spices, this all-carnivore diet leaves no room for plant material whatsoever. Anyone who's spent 5 seconds looking at a food pyramid in elementary school can see how an all-meat diet could be potentially dangerous to humans, who are typically omnivores by nature. Indeed, you'll want to tread with caution here, as very few recent studies provide any concrete evidence that a no-carb diet is safe or sustainable. Most glaringly, a completely animal-based diet leaves you with no access to vitamin C or fiber, two things that are very, very important for the human body. Maintaining healthy weight is important, but do you know what's more important? Not getting scurvy. Number 8. Low-carb Mediterranean diet. As the name implied, a Mediterranean diet is a meal plan based on the traditional foods prepared in countries like Italy and Greece earlier in the 20th century. Research has indicated that the Mediterranean diet is considered healthier than a typical diet of Americans from the same time period. And the diet itself has been linked to both weight loss and reduced chance of diseases, such as heart disease and diabetes. A Mediterranean diet limits high-carb foods, such as grains, and instead of the usual staples of low-carb dieting we've come to recognize from this list, it emphasizes fatty fish over red meat and olive oil instead of fats like butter. That reminds me, as soon as this video is done, I need to go Google some recipes for a low-carb spanakopita. Feta. Kicking carbs to the curb isn't always easy, but if you have the right game plan for a low-carb diet, anything is possible. Do you already subscribe to any of these diets we mentioned? Do you have any low-carb recipes or substitutions you want to share? Please feel free to leave a comment below and help keep the conversation going. Enjoyed this video? Hit the like button and share with your friends. Also, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.